Reckoner's shakedown from Josu Hernais shows us what it's like to be lured into the Reckoner's lair. You are tempted by a gift, an opportunity, and do not get to see the massive looming presence of its leadership. Disguised by scents of poisonous flowers, you step into a world where you lose control, but gain power. Today we put another step into the world of Kamigawa and look at different ways people look for power, safety, or whatever they find most important in a dualistically divided world. In Kamigawa, the smallest seeds of doubt can become dangerous kami over time. The kami creates more doubts, and the doubting people feed the kami. Enter the Unforgiving One. A spirit for 2 and a black that's a 2/3 with menace. This kami lets you return a creature from the grave whenever it attacks. You must wonder where the drawback is, and this is that the kami only gives you a creature that costs X mana, where X is the amount of creatures you have with auras, equipments, or +1 counters. In other words, modified creatures. This actually makes this card funny to me. The art shows us a kami with clawing hands. All kami keep floating aspects that are their idea of self. It's a kind of symbolism in a twisted way. This kami though seems to not focus on that per se, but more on the big sword through its gut. This Unforgiving One has been pierced by an equipment, the exact thing he strives to use to bring others back. The Unforgiving One is an example of a creature that says he is not forgiving, but in doing so, he sort of embraces the thing he feels resentment towards. In a world where kami usually spiral out of control, this is a very funny notion to me. Of course, the kami becomes enraged by modified creatures and therefore wants to return a zombie to enact his revenge. This one will not let go soon. The same counts for the Reckoners. They get a hold on you and then grant you power, but only because they trust that they can keep you in their controlling fog for all of eternity. Granting you power is the best thing to do. The same counts for friendship. So the Reckoners are not as bad as Josu Hernais portrays them to be. Enormous Energy Blade is a 2 and a black equipment that's meant to be clunky. It gives your creatures 4 power, no defense, and although it's easy to pick up, you need a turn to catch your breath. This equipment would be funny through an Unforgiving One. Other than that, giving a useless creature 4 power for the price of not using it for a turn is great. It's even funnier though to see this one Nezumi surrounded by at least 5 deadly ninjas and them being wary as this rat sways his tail and this enormous sword around. Knowing the Nezumi's trait of crafting their own equipment, this makes me think of a young rat that not yet knows his limits, and Campbell White's depiction of a thin rat's tail that's supposed to hold back a massive sword is the perfect illustration. Heavy, maybe for you, is the perfect silver lining. Seven-Tail Mentor is ready to give his student or his car a sword as a sign of graduation. Maybe the sword is a key for his neon light powered motorcycle. The card itself gives the creature or vehicle a +1 counter, not really a sword. Basically, the +1 counter is meant to give the creature knowledge gained through learning under his mentor. The interesting part is where it gives the +1 counter when the student starts learning under this mentor, and then, again, when this mentor gives his last parting lesson. It is not often that White's biggest importance lies in truth, but it does when it is paired with knowledge. Michiko's Reign of Truth gives your creatures or artifacts more improvements or lessons for every artifact or enchantment. This card is meant to show a moment in the past when artifacts, humans with swords, and enchantments, kami spirits, started to live together. Now knowing why they fought before and why they live in peace now. The art shows us Michiko standing over her people. The people of Kamigawa now have this fan in their homes as a keepsake of a time where there was peace. The part where you hold the fan is blue, signaling a change in times, as blue is the color of progress, or of change at the least. The reign of Michiko here is portrayed by 2 chapters that grow your creatures. Your humans with every allied sword or kami. The card then flips when you get to the hand. Now Michiko is just a portrait, but one that is still a human noble apparently. This painting has come to life and soon we will learn that this is actually possible. The portrait of Michiko still lives in harmony with weapons and spirits. Michiko's point of view is explained in the flavor. Long ago, as the first mortal to bond with Kyodai, Michiko Konda brought an end to the Kami War and guided Kamigawa into an age of truth and harmony. A couple of interesting points. First, we read about Kyodai, the spirit dragon that used to be an aspect of Okagachi. We learned before that this is the myojin of the rift between the spirit world and the real one. Kyodai is the aspect that has been with the corrupted emperor first and then bonded with his daughter, who was kind and honest. Kyodai learned from this what it means to be open, or as the flavor puts it, Kyodai teaches Kamigawa why the truth is important. The harmony that followed was put into reality because the world was tired of war and ready for peace. This is why the color of white and the color of order has stopped holding back knowledge for a long time, until just a few years back. Uncharted Haven is a filler card for drafts. It enters tapped, making it weak, but it does tap for every color you need, which helps 2+ colored draft tags. The lore of the card is infinitely more interesting. It says that there are places on Kamigawa that have not been touched by mortals or by kami. In other words, the place is still undiscovered, and that means more potential for Kamigawa. The art shows us a beautiful piece from Lorenzo Lantraconi, with green waters, blossoming roots of trees, pink flowers, one deer that is part of nature, but also astonished by it, and then, what the deer is probably looking at, the blue mountains in the same color of the air above it. Peaceful, easy to the eye, and yet vibrant, making this feel as alien as it should be. A pair of 2 with harmonious emergence, these 2 cards transform a land into a creature and protect it with their own permanence. This 2 mana version of the card makes it 3/3 out of your land. Dangerous because the land might die more easily, but actually not, because when it does die, the enchantment dies instead. The card shows us what kami often do, emerge from nature, as manifestations of their energy. But take a look at this one, because it shows us that these kami can easily emerge in your own city. No worries though, because this burning dragon is now friendly with most humans. The flavor says it best. The transitions from spiritual to material is sometimes as shocking as it is beautiful. From beauty and shocking. To just shocking, an ambitious assault, meant to not work at all, empowers your goblins and grants you a card for the goblins lost today. The card lets you empower your goblin creatures that are already strong and fierce, but usually cowardly in equal measures. We give them +2 power just to be more useful, but then you look at the flavor. In the clangor and chaos of the Aki attack, few even noticed the frogs on their heads. Huh? Oh wow, they do have frogs on their head. Kami frog even judging by the floating aspects that we talked about earlier. These spirits must be kami of anger, coming from the shrine behind these goblins. They grant further battle prowess because when the goblin has a weapon, the frogs have something to light on fire and probably melt before the battle is over. But let's not think about this. This is a quick assault. This card shows us barren lands because everything will die when it is forever forgotten. Face into Antiquity shows us what happens when we are forgotten. We get exiled, or at least the artifact or spirit does. This is a great removal spell in the draft format, but I would like to look at one of the mysteries of this new set. Memories fade and wither with time. If we do not nurture the garden of history, we may once more wander blindly through barren lands. And that, my pupils, is why our historian friends keep stressing that they are studying something important. We should look at our previous lessons to look into the future, which is not possible at all, and you should actually be in the present. But it's a cool concept. A pair of 2 with crackling emergence. These 2 cards transform a land into a creature and protect it with their own permanence. Wait, I have said this before. It seems like history is important. The difference between the 2 auras is that this one costs 2 more and gives you a bigger spirit with extra vigilance. This means that you can still use your land after attacking, making the green one better than the red one. The art shows us that this is also more terrifying than a fairy dog. This is a huge frog with 4 tails that faces through reality right onto your home. Your home will be destroyed by a vigilant amphibian with 4 eyes. You will never be able to go to the pond ever again. The croaks will keep you up at night for years to come. About ponds. Thornwood Fall shows us a big lush cove with futuristic homes and a lot of water, and therefore frogs. The card itself is a tap land that gives life. The art from Sam Burley is a lesson in imagination. We imagine what it's like to live in Jukai now. We have a modern tree house and live in a community next to waterfalls. You wake up to a misty day, and in your warm house you make your coffee. You then move outside the shower under a waterfall before you move onto the shrine in the back of your village with your fellow townsfolk, and you get blessed with another giant frog plaguing your hated neighbors. I love mornings. Until I learned that the reality chip is a jellyfish. The card itself is awesome. It is a 0/4 creature for 2 mana, but it lets you look at the top card of your library, which is a cool ability already. Then you may equip it, as an equipment of course, in order to enable yourself to play those cards from the top of your library, making for insane value in just one equipment. This jellyfish also enables everything to planeswalk according to the mothership, destroying every notion of reality you had about planeswalkers. Maybe they had jellyfishes in their minds all along. Minds. Man, these bridges. Okay, Mindlick Mech is a card that clones anything else. The art from Naochika Morishita is amazing too. It shows us a bunny-like mech that has copied his ninja friend in a kicking move. Imagine a big mech robot copying your every move. I would become a ninja too, just to have this robot be as useful as a robot. The card is cool too, because a vehicle that you crew to become a copy of the pilot while it stays a 4/3 with flying is amazing for the Voltron decks, which is a meta flavor win that I love. I immediately want a deck build with this friend. If you have any suggestions for it, let me know, and your suggestion might be featured in one of the next videos. Other than that, I thank you for watching and I wish you a nice day and week. See you soon.